Hello friends, in the earlier videos relating to interview preparation, we had gone into detail about the 5 different kinds of questions which are asked in interviews, and then we had gone into great detail about the first of those 5 types of questions, which are personal questions. So now let us go into the second of those 5 types of questions, which are career related questions. I'm giving the links of the earlier videos relating to interviews in the description, so do take a look if you haven't watched them. One of the basic questions in a B school interview is, why do you want to do an MBA? So connect this particular question to your understanding about how having management skills will help you to manage resources better. Resources like, for example, money, which connects to finance, men, which connects to HR, machines, which means processes, operations, marketing, which connects you to customers, extremely important because anything we do is for the customers based on their needs, isn't it? So connecting to customers, which involves marketing and so on. Now, you might be a fresher, or you might be working in a company, which means that you have a work experience, or you might be running your own startup company. And in all these cases, you are looking to do your management degree. Now, if you are a fresher, then what kind of background into management skills can you bring in? You can talk about the events that you did in college and how you manage resources. For example, if you are having a college event like your college fest, then you want to scale it up as compared to what you had last year, isn't it? For which you would like to bring in more finance, plan your manpower much more properly, put in programs, have multiple committees to handle various functions like the food committee or the programs committee, your transportation committee, your awards committee, judges committee, and so on, and coordinating between all these committees, reaching out to various colleges and marketing the event so that you pull in more people into the particular event, having more footfalls for people coming and watching these events. You can also talk about the internships that you've done and the exposure that you got into various companies and their workings and how it kindled an interest in you to go in for management in addition to your basic degree and so on. If you're a working professional, then you can talk about your understanding of how management skills are extremely required for particularly key roles in senior management positions in the organization, and that is what you aspire to be as you go along in future. You can talk about your experience of interacting with such people in business forums within the organization, in meetings, and you see them bring those kind of skills to the table. For example, if you're working in an IT company, then who brings those kind of projects to the company? As an engineer, you might be working in a project or in a module within the project. Now, if you look at the kind of people who win these big time contracts from clients, then they definitely would have technical skills because they would look at the needs of the client and then try and convert that into technical aspects, isn't it? For example, to help a client, you might be developing an app. So you look at the need of the client and then convert that into technical aspects to develop the application for the client, isn't it? Now, to win the contract, you need to convince the client about your capability, your organization's capability to deliver the project, which means that you need to market what your organization can do to the client. You need to do your costing so that you can quote your price, a very competitive price to the client, which involves finance skills. You also then need to plan out the manpower requirement for the particular project. Once you win the project, then you need to look at the project management process where you break the entire project into separate modules with separate timelines and have multiple teams in place, have chains of command, have monitoring processes in place. So we are talking about process control, operations. So this is just an example, and it is the same in any walks of life, not just in companies, not just in NGOs, it can be in startup companies, it can be in governmental organizations. So everywhere you require management skills. So you try and personalize if you are a working professional. Now, if you're running your own startup company or you had an attempt at running a startup company, then you talk about how you felt that having management skills would have improved the way things were in the organization, where instead of learning through a trial and error method, having a formal education in management would have made things much more better in running the organization. And you can also talk about why management skills are extremely required to take the company forward, scale it up, take it to a different level. So talk about your understanding of how management skills are required to play senior roles in the organization extremely effectively. For example, when we talked about SOP preparation and where we answered this particular question, why MBA, I talked about the simple example of a professor in a college who is a very good teacher, somebody who is very highly regarded by students, but over a period of time, as he grows in seniority, one fine morning he becomes the head of the department, then later on he becomes the principal, and if he becomes the principal, then his management skills is what comes to fore much more than his teaching skills, isn't it? Because he may not be putting in that much hours in teaching, hardly little, whereas he would have to manage resources of the college in terms of managing the finance of the college, managing the administration, managing the staff, managing the whole academics, the how it is rolled out in the college, managing the college union, coordinating with the education department, the government, the media, the parent-teacher association. So as we grow in any organization, we need to have more of management skills to add on to the basic degree that you have. Now, how do we get that? Through a 2-year MBA program, which is a training ground for you, isn't it? It's just like the kind of training you would get when you join an organization. Any kind of training is intended to make you much more productive, much more effective in the kind of role that you are going to play. So a B school will help you to have a thorough grounding on the various functions in management, help you to approach a problem and analyze it from various angles, put in business models in place, a framework in place to tackle the particular issue, look at strategies to achieve long-term goals and garner resources and use them very effectively to achieve those goals and so on. Now, how is that done in a B school? The training happens through case studies, through simulations, through management games, through projects, by interaction with faculty with diverse work experience, interaction with alumni, particularly you can connect with alumni related to what you want to do in your career, interaction sessions with senior managers and sometimes doyens in the industry. You'll also learn a lot from your peers at the B schools who come from diverse academic backgrounds. Many of them will have work experience and that too from a range of industries. So that gives you a lot of exposure because in B schools, students normally work in groups, in study groups to do projects, to do presentations, which means that the diverse backgrounds help you to think from various angles. During a degree, all of you are doing the same degree, isn't it? You're doing economics, everybody thinks from that kind of perspective. If you're a mechanical engineer, you look at it from that perspective when you do a project. But here, in a study group, you'll have people from various backgrounds with various kinds of experiences and different kinds of thinking. And that will enrich your vision and your thought process. In addition to that, the learning is also enriched through the kind of activities that happen in a B school where you have interest groups, clubs, committees. They will be organizing business meets, conclaves, cultural festivals, business fairs. So a lot of things will add on to the learning at a B school, which will set you on the path to a management career. Another common question is, where do you see yourself 5 years post your MBA? Or say 10 years post your MBA. So they're looking at your short-term goals and your long-term goals. Let's look at the 5-year plan. You can talk about how you want to be a fast learner in the organization where you join, understand about the organization, make your mark, exceed expectations, be one of the best among the group of management trainees who joined the organization post their MBA from various B schools. Talk about learning a lot of new things to apply on the job or the role that you're playing in the organization, learning quickly, proving your mettle so that you are on track for your first promotion in the first 2 years after joining the organization. Then in the next 3 years, talk about how you want to keep learning as you go into a bit more senior role in the organization with more responsibilities, deliver value to the organization so that you're marked as one of the fast learners in the organization, a person who can be saddled with higher responsibilities in future. So in the first 5 years, you are looking at learning, you are looking at delivering value to the organization, you're looking at exceeding expectations in the role assigned to you, so that you are handpicked or looked at as a star performer in the organization who can be saddled with higher responsibilities and roles in the future. So that is the plan for the first 5 years. Now, if you're looking at your long-term goal over the 10 years post your MBA, then you talk about wanting to be someone whose opinion is valued in the organization, be in a position where you can contribute significantly to the strategic decision making of the organization and contribute very effectively to the success and growth of the organization. You can talk about wanting to be a person who is looked upon as an influencer among your peers and looked upon as a mentor by your juniors, somebody who can very effectively lead a team, individually head a business unit in the organization. So talk about your plan long term, 10 years post your MBA. These are things you can say if you are planning to work in an organization. Now, alternately, if you want to start your own company, then you can talk about spending 2 to 5 years in organizations which are allied to the kind of industry that you want to get into. So you can say that I would like to work in areas X, Y, or Z relating to what I want to do in the future, understand systems, processes in the organization, which will help me to establish my own organization a few years later. Then you can talk about how, with the kind of experience that you have earned, you then are ready to start your own venture by floating your idea to angel investors or venture capital funds to raise the first round of capital, and then you set up your company and take it through the first phase of growth and stabilize it so that your organization is ready to pitch for the next round of funding, which will then take it to the next growth phase to reach the kind of level that you want to take it through over the next 5 years. So these are your dreams, vision, aspirations that you have, depending on whether you want to work in an organization that again can be a corporate, can be a developmental organization, can be an NGO, can be a governmental organization. You might want to go into areas like academics, for example, or you want to get into entrepreneurship. So sell your dream and establish the importance of management skills to reach your goals and how you're going to do it step by step in a phased manner, short term over the next 5 years post your MBA, and then long term over the next 5 years. That means 10 years post your MBA. Another common question is, what specialization do you want to choose in your MBA? Now, if you have specifically something in mind which you have thought about, which you worked on, or sometimes it is connected with your degree background or with the kind of work experience that you already have, then you can spell it out and substantiate the reasons why you want to take up that particular specialization. But you need to have solid reasons when you say that, because the interviewers can try and poke holes in your argument, trying to knock you down by saying that you don't have enough expertise to go into that particular area, your thought process is muddled and all that. So you need to be crystal clear why you want to go into that particular specialization. The safer route to take, and particularly if you are a fresher or if you have limited work experience, is to say that you're keeping your options open. Because in the first year, you really want to learn more about the various functions of management, gain adequate exposure through the pedagogy which is rolled out in the B school, interact with seniors, interact with alumni, and then take a decision on what you want to specialize during your second year, where again you can have dual specialization where you can pick and choose from a basket of electives which is given to you, not necessary that you go into one particular area of specialization. You can say that I would like to go into areas relating to strategic management. At the same time, you also want to back that up with certain papers in finance or some papers in marketing and so on. So they might counter you by saying that you're not very clear what you want to do, and say that you're keeping your options open because you're eager to learn. You don't want to go into an MBA program with a prefix mindset, and then you connect with what happens in the B school by going through the course curriculum of that particular B school, where you say that, sir, ma'am, I understand this is what happens. These are XYZ courses which appeal to me. Now, you need not have much of a knowledge about what happens in that course, but then reading through a brief about all these courses which are given in the B school website, you say that these kind of courses really appeal to me, and my intention is to go through all these courses and then take an informed decision as I go along. Now, in the case of certain B schools or certain programs at some of the B schools, you need to specify the kind of specialization that you want to choose. For example, if you're going into IAFT, then you know that they offer a program in international business. So you need to then clearly justify why a program in international business is what you want to do to achieve what you plan for in your career. Another example would be if you go to IRMA, you need to very clearly sell your interest in the development sector. You need to clearly outline your love for that particular sector, talk about how that sector appeals to you, why your skills match what is required in that particular sector, how you would fit into the development sector of India, what kind of work that you have done which will connect you with that particular sector, what is the kind of reading and exposure that you have got in the sector, and so on. But in most of the cases, you have the freedom to keep your options open instead of having to commit yourself to a particular specialization. But at the same time, don't make flippant statements like, sir, I haven't decided right now, I'll think about it later. You need to very clearly outline how you're going to arrive at that particular decision at the end of the first year of the B school by connecting to what happens in the B school and also specifically going through the curriculum at that particular B school. So go through the details of the course, the kind of course delivery, how it happens at the B school, the pedagogy which is laid out at the B school, and then you would be able to justify your answer. So friends, I hope I've given you enough food for thought relating to career related questions and how you can answer those questions effectively. So till we meet again, take care. Appreciate your time. Hope my insights were valuable and you benefit from my expertise. Catch the next video in our GD interview mastery series for MBA aspirants. The link is in the description. Stay tuned for more success tips.